Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Lommel in Belgium, round 7 of the European 250 Championship. It's also round 14 of the FIM Motocross World Championship as well, the MXGP of Belgium. But before we get to any of the MX2 or MXGP qualifying races, there's just a small matter of race 1, EMX250, to take care of. Coming into this weekend, Stefan Rubini on the Honda Red Motor Motor machine has a 10-point advantage over the Matty Racing Husqvarna of Alberto Ferrato. Roman Moosdijk sits 3 points further back, so just 13 points separating the top 3. But Van der Moosdijk is no slouch in the sand. Could we see a change in the championship positions this weekend before we head to the final round, Sweden, in about 3 weeks' time? My name's Paul Maiden. Alongside me today and for tomorrow on MXGPTV.com is Jason Thomas from Fly Racing. Temperatures hovering around 20 degrees at the moment. Jason, welcome. We saw a 125 race earlier, but the track now, after MX2 and MXGP time practice, probably a little bit more difficult than it would have been if this race was earlier on in the day.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that continue. It's just going to get rougher and rougher and rougher. So this will be the most gentle these guys see it for the rest of the weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Moosdijk has an opportunity here to close the gap down.
1,800 meters or so, nearly 1,900 meters of torture each lap this track goes by, and we've got the wave section immediately after the finish line area, that left turn into that big wave section. We've got offset sections as well, and rhythm sections where you can go inside and outside. Really is going to be a challenge. But Rubini, there is the confirmation that he leads a championship by Ferrato and Van der Moosdijk. Beniston moved up to 5th last time out, and Josh Gilbert riding the Bill Base Honda. His boss is in town this weekend, actually, Dave Thorpe. Jeremy Sido up to 8th now after an impressive last time out race in Germany. Rivo Dankers is 9, and he should be able to pick up some decent points here this weekend. Won his final ever 125 race in the sand of Assen last year. These are riders leaving for their sighted lap a few moments ago. They're now back in, led out by Roman Van der Moosdijk, because he was fastest in Group 1 on his FNH Kawasaki with a 154.4, a 156.9 for Rennie Hoffer in Group 2. So again, they alternate Group 1, Group 2, first, Group, then second, third. But Roman Van der Moosdijk, Jason Thomas, already had an impressive kind of, it wasn't a debut, he'd done a couple of MX2 races earlier on in his career, but 6th overall in Portugal, led a race. The kid has to be the favourite here in the sand, lives just over the border. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he certainly looks like to be the class of the field, and in qualifying earlier, 2 or 3 seconds quicker in the first free practice. So be interesting if he can get the start. This may be what he needs. Only 13 points to the championship lead. He had to have this round circled on the calendar, so this is his opportunity.
Well, in terms of overalls, Rubini has been off the podium just once. That was Latvia, where he was 4th overall. That's the sand track.
Yep.
He won on the hard packs of France and Germany, and he was 2nd, Great Britain, Matterley Basin, Trentino and Russia. So hard pack specialist, more so.
Not shocking for a French rider, correct?
No.
Yeah.
And Alberto Ferrato won the first 2 rounds. He's also been off the podium just once. And then you've got Roman Moosdijk off the podium twice, but he's done well to recover from a 9th and a 5th overall in Trentino in France to get himself back in contention with 2 wins in Russia and Latvia, and 2nd overall last time out in Germany. So
that gentleman there knows how to ride sand.
Yes. 303, Alberto Ferrato, the Matty Racing Husqvarna rider, got off to a fantastic start, won the first 4 races of the year. In fact, the top 3 guys have all won 4 races each. So Rubini has 4, Ferrato has 4, Roman Moosdijk has 4. Here is your championship leader, Rubini, on the Honda Red Motor Motor machine. Said the track was quite hard underneath this morning when he came in after the free practice, but looking out there now, just those braking bumps are a little bit skitty, just a little bit edgy. The Fly Racing 15-second board up for the first time today then for the EMX250 riders. Race 1 coming up, 25 minutes plus 2. It's round 7 of the EMX250 European Championship. We're at Lommel. The gate is about to drop here. Who will it be that makes it through the first couple of corners and over the whole shot line first? Well, Hoffer with a great start. Looks like Hogma up the inside of him, number 24, and a Kramer KTM. He wildcarded last week in MX2 in Lockett. And he led a race here until he fell through this section on the last lap last year. So obviously feels comfortable in and around this circuit here at Lommel. Great start for him. There's Beniston to the inside in blue on the Yamaha, popping up over the hill in about 5th place. And the Kawasaki there is, what, 4th, 5th, 6th, Roman Mosdijk. So a decent start for the guy in 3rd place, and he looks like he's ahead of his rivals, Ferrato and Rubini as well.
I'm interested to see how Harrop does there on the 11. He was quick in practice, and don't think he has a ton of experience in this class.
I mean, it's his first year in the class, but he's just had a torrid time of it running the number 11 of Mikkel Harrop. Injuries and all that kind of thing, and the 28 Kate Eben parking Rennie Hofer there just through that turn, but the Norwegian Kevin Horgmo starting to open up a bit of a gap here on this opening lap. There is Harp around the outside. They're all wearing that kind of retro white and blue kit this weekend.
Rubini has his work cut out for him. He's in 16th at the moment, so if Mosdijk can make a move, yeah, Ferrato in 22nd. This is good for, if Mosdijk can make a move and get to the front, this could be an easy race for him.
We'll get the riders over the line this first time around. That's when we get a clearer picture, because they will be moving up and down the leaderboard on that opening lap. But Horgmo leads 3 seconds clear of Isaac Gifting there. Kay Eben is 3rd, Mikkel Hart 4th with the white sleeves and the blue body. And then the 39 of Roman Mosdijk getting alongside him on the Kawasaki, bar to bar as they come through the end of the rhythm section. Oh, and both riders going round Eben. But Random Mosdijk has to sit there and wait patiently, but it's all about momentum. We were talking about this in the 125 race earlier. Loses the position there as he got squeezed to the inside by Harrop and Eben. But you can't afford to start in the corners, can you, Jason?
No, and it's he obviously has the great sand technique that we talk about, but if he's looking ahead right now and he realizes that none of the championship contenders are ahead of him, that's only going to fuel the fire right now. So you know that he's pushing everything he has to get to the front. He obviously doesn't know how poorly they started behind him, but there are a lot of points up for grabs right now.
Actually, just thinking about the number 11 of Mikkel Harrop, he started the year, originally he should have started in EMX250 in this class, but after the pre-season races, the team decided, you know what, we'll put him up in MX2. I personally wouldn't have done that, because you can't run before you know how to walk, if you know what I mean. You needed that year in EMX250 really, just to maybe win some races, win a championship. And here he is now going back just to regain some of that confidence.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. If you struggle early and you lose confidence, some people just never recover from that. They never find the form that got them there.
Looking good here, though, as he dances away around the outside of Isaac Gifting, trying to, anyway, Gifting, not really seeing him up at the front too often. But 19th in the championship, a 10th and an 11th overall so far this year. So he's only scored in 2 rounds, those being in France and last time out in Germany.
He's Horgmo's best friend right now, because he's allowing him to check out a bit here.
Yeah, and Horgmo not really in the chase either. He's 17th in the championship standings. He's missed the last 3 rounds with injuries. And his ride last week was one of his first back on a bike, and it was pretty impressive in MX2 and Lockett as well. But he has a 4-second advantage now, does Kevin Horgmo. Here's Rennie Hofer, 7-11. And then the 104 of Jeremy Sido on the Diga Procross Husqvarna. He is in 8th place. Rubini up to 9th. So what was he, 16th on the opening lap, you said?
Yeah, making moves
up to 14th.
Yeah, both of them making moves, and they need to do it with the quickness, because before long, I have a feeling Mosdijk's going to be near the front.
And the problem they have is, as Random Mosdijk up the inside of Gifting, he'll squeeze him here going into the second corner. Remember, it's a right-left chicane, that first turn, second turn combination. They're having to work overtime just to get inside the top 10 at the moment, whereas Roman Mosdijk, he's happily just sitting there, set the fastest lap last time around, a 2:02.5, and he was in traffic.
It's funny, you can tell the comfort level he has on this track. He was full noise, exiting a turn, pulling tear-offs with one hand.
Yeah, that's impressive. Considering most people can't ride around here with both hands on the handlebars. Nicely done, Harrop at the inside. So he's looking to go after the 39 of Roman Mosdijk. But he's obviously riding for Husqvarna, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Mikkel Harrop. Both the MX2 and MXGP workshops are based just the other side of the fence as you come down into turn 3.
Harp has a great sand style, standing up everywhere, really flowing with the bike.
Down the inside of Jeremy Sido, so he's showing his intentions here on the 118 championship leader. If they put the flag out at the end of that first lap, Rubini on 263, Roman Mostike on 256. So 7 points between those two, and Ferrato moves down to third on 248. But both those two are coming through the track, through traffic. Here is Ferrato in red, behind the number 10 of Rivo Dankers, in that distinctive yellow kit of the Hutton Metals Yamaha squad. The 172 of Rick Elzinger as well in there on the MJC Europe, on the SDM Corsa Yamaha.
You see Ferrato looking over. He always sees an ocean of motorcycles between he and the front right now. So both he and Rubini are probably full panic mode at this point.
Right, Ferrato at the inside of Ruben Fernandez, another rider who's been missing for a couple of rounds or so with injuries. But Ferrato, just a big burly dude on a, I mean, he's better suited to a 450 even at such a young age. I don't think he's even 19 yet. But making light work of the 250. Jeremy Sido and the number 10 there of Dankers, where are they? 9th and 10th. So Hogmo leads. He's still got more than 3 seconds over Roman and Mostike, but Mostike last time around a 2:02.8 compared to the 2:04 of Kevin Hogmo, your race leader. That could change at the end of the lap as Ferrato charges down the inside of Jeremy Sido, using that weight advantage.
See how the lines are forming up. You definitely do not have to follow anyone on this track at any time.
Yeah, and he's having to work extremely hard. Around the outside. Oh, man down. Is that Beniston? So Hogmo, Van der Moosdijk, Hart, Gifting, Hoffer, Eben, Rubini, Sido, Bengtson, Dankers. Man down. So just trying to figure out who that motorcycle belonged to.
Beniston.
Yeah, Beniston, I think, number 98. So there he is, chasing it up the hill in the opposite direction. So for him to be running that far up and the bike being over there, he's gone down pretty big. Here's your race leader. 1.6 seconds now between him and Roman and Mostike. He's going to pop up into view any moment now, just biding his time. Fast, but doing it in a very methodical way, Jason.
Yeah, you would realize that at this point he can see behind him. There's really no pressure coming, so he's got the race lead right in front of him. He's going to take his time and make a smart pass and not do anything silly here. I think he would be very relieved to know the troubles that Rubini and Ferrato are in right now, but he has this race well in hand. It's just a matter of time.
Rubini sets his fastest lap at 2:05.5, but that's still 3 seconds off of the guy in green here, Roman and Mostike. He's looking at trying to pick up another 3 points here if he can, and if he does, you know, that's the championship down to 2 points. So Hogmo over on the far side, under pressure on that Kramer Racing KTM. Van der Moosdijk goes through, and easy pass. He's taken, what, 3 laps to find his way through traffic to take over the lead here in EMX250 Race 1. So now Rubini can't afford any mistakes. He's up to 6th place. He's taken Ken Bengtson with him. They've pushed Kay Eben down to 8th. Here's Ferrato. He's just found his way past the 10 of Dankers. So now he's up into 10th position. It's a Maddie Racing Husqvarna rider, but he's been pushed down to 3rd in the championship in the process because of the ride that Roman and Mostike is putting on at the moment.
I have a feeling we're going to see a really low lap time for Mostike here. He's definitely found his rhythm. You know, we're almost 10 minutes in here and seems to be ready to check out.
Rivo Dankers will do his best to keep Alberto Ferrato here on the Husky in his sight, but that little drop down into that corner there, Jason, it's not even that steep, but when you're on it and you're trying to turn, it's surprising how steep and tight that becomes, you know, through the inside. And that's reminiscent of a lot of places on this track, isn't it? You know, there aren't big hills here, but everything that you do hit has some kind of steep angle in or out, and it just makes the balance of the bike, upsets the balance of the bike. You know, if you rush it, you end up tipping over in places like that. So the riders have to be mindful of exactly how they attack this racetrack.
Yeah, you almost have to be right in the middle. Not too aggressive, but you have to keep your momentum up. It's definitely an art form to riding sand like this.
Here's Rubini. What was the lap time? 2:02.8 from Roman Mosdijk. Horgmo second, Harp, Gifting, Hoffer, Rubini here. 1:18 is next. And then Ken Bergson in 7th place. Championship down to 3 points as it stands right now. 266 Rubini, Roman Mosdijk 263, Ferrato on 252. Ferrato about to hit the bridge now, over on the left-hand side.
The most troubling thing for Rubini here is his lap time's really not going to put him in position to catch up.
No.
So he needs to find some pace. He's probably a bit in panic right now, probably putting in too much effort, as we talked about in some of the 125 racing. Just got to calm down and find his lines and try to move forward. Every single point's going to count.
Ruben Fernandez trying to get himself back on track. You don't realize how fast these guys are coming through because they have to commit to corners and straights, don't they? What have we got? Roman Mosdijk leads, Horgmo second, third Harp, fourth Gifting, Hoffer fifth, Rubini sixth, Bengtson seventh, Sido 8, Eben 9, Ferrato 10, about to find his way past Eben with the orange numbers in front of him. Just needs to find a little gap that he can prise open. Big elbows as the Italian. If he can't go on the inside, he'll try the outside, but he's just rushing. And this is the problem with a poor start. Having to ride over yourself. You start making mistakes. Yeah, you find ways to get through, of course you do, but
I don't think he'll need dinner tonight. He's been eating sand for about 13 minutes already.
Sandwiches. Another fastest lap for Roman Mosdijk, 2:02.0, almost in the 2:01s. But again, compared to what the time was in the time practice session, 1:54.4.
It's like a totally different racetrack out there right now.
8 seconds slower. Looks smooth though, doesn't it? Looks comfortable.
Yeah, he's definitely found his groove. He was 5 seconds better than Horgmo that last lap, so you can see the gap now. It's spreading out pretty quickly.
Third is Harp, so Harp knocking on the door. He was also at 2:05, so Horgmo 2:07. Well, at least Harp is on the same kind of pace as Roman Mosdijk, just 2/10 slower than the race leader that time around.
Seemed like when Mosdijk went by, he just sucked the air right out of Horgmo there and killed all of his confidence, because he was turning, you know, 2:04, 2:05 there consistently, and dropped into 2:07. You wonder if it's fatigue or if it's just nervousness. I don't think he's led a whole lot of these races.
No, and also this year he's just had a difficult time, like we said, with those injuries. 17th in the championship. Didn't score in the first race at Matterley at round 1. Got a second. He's had a third, but another 0 in race 1 in France. And then he's been on the sidelines the last 3 rounds. So Harap just trying to go wide and improvise, but the back end dancing around. And problem is, you back off when you're out of shape like that. The front just gets swallowed up with this deep sand. I mean, you know, you've ridden this place before.
Yeah, I didn't have the benefit of those long legs that Harap has. I would have probably been on the head there.
Jumping long, keeping that momentum going as he looks to go around the outside and up the inside. So single on one side and a single, you know, different corners, making the riders go inside or outside, trying not to follow.
We see he's so tall there. He's just allowing the bike to work underneath him. He doesn't have to move as the bike moves, and he can shift up a gear and allow it to flow. That's a pretty big benefit for some of the taller guys, as we saw Jessiconis in the MXGP qualifying be kind of the same form.
Right, Ferrato in 9th now. Dankers 10, Elsinger 11, Eben down to 12, Fredrickson 13, Gilbert up to 14, Bastien Baudin 15, Caleb Grothhughes is 16, 17th is Gerhardsen, 18, Hawkinson, 19th is Ruben Fernandez, and I think Max Spies has just found himself inside the top 20, but Rubini is under attack here, and he can't afford to lose a position, because they will be tied on points then with Roman Mosdijk, and Roman Mosdijk picks up the race win. All of a sudden he's the new championship leader based on race wins. That's how they do it here. It's not on round wins.
He's going to be petitioning Ustream to move every race to Lommel for 2020.
Yeah, yeah. So 10+2 to go. EMX250 Race 1. Here we are at Lommel. Things like that, you see, Ferrato just trying to go in and out of that turn early. Buries those wheels in. That just sucks the power out of the bike.
Yeah, especially being a bigger guy as well. That's not helping.
Second and third. I'm impressed that Horgmo is still able to keep Harrop back at bay. Oh, bottoms out as he hits the that hole. Obviously the fastest line at the start of the day, but it's where you need to start looking for new lines. Up on the peg for any outside. These guys will know they've had a workup. Pierre Goupy, oh, Jimmy Clochet, the Bud Racing Kawasaki rider. So that's, he's facing the wrong way as well on the run towards the pit lane area. So Clochet having a nightmare then, out of 32nd position.
Every time Harrop gets close, he tries a different line that doesn't work and has to regain all that time back up. So I give credit to Horgmo there. He's fighting him off.
It will show it on his lap time as well, won't it? 2:03.2, 2:07.5, 2:07.9, pulls back about 4/10. Nothing in it, but the gap between Van der Moosdijk and Horgmo here is almost 17 seconds with 8.5 minutes plus 2 to go.
Yeah, you wonder how long Horgmo can hold him off, because I feel like if Harrop could get by, he could drop back down into that 2:05. He's riding defensively, though. He's blocking in all the right positions and not giving Harrop the lines he wants to use.
Just wheeling up onto the face of that jump. Let all the back end soak everything up, because that hole wasn't there actually, was it? It was just a takeoff on a normal standard ramp face. You see how deep those ruts are as well, coming towards the Monster Bridge.
Yeah, this track has a mind of its own. It really doesn't care what you intended to be a jump.
Isaac Gifting, and here is Rennie Hoffer. Then Rubini coming towards us. He's broken free of Ken Bengtson, so now he can maybe relax a little bit. And then 2 places further back, we've got Ferrato. He's in 8th, so he was, what, 23rd, 24th on the opening lap. He's had some serious passing to do in this first EMX 250 race.
Rubini put in a 2:05 that last lap. If he could pick that pace up or even maintain that, he's got a shot to pick up a few more points here.
Yeah. Like I say, he's probably riding tight because he knows that Van der Moosdijk is up front. He's probably trying to work out the maths in his head, probably a bit too much. But as long as he has 2:05s compared to the 2:08s and 7s of Horgmo, Gifting, Harrop, there is a chance that he can get through. But what is he behind Horgmo at the moment, Rubini? 13, 14 seconds. So he's still got some ground to make up. He might not even get there, you know.
We certainly didn't envision a 6th place coming into this moto, so every point he can get will be a bonus of this, you know, with much time, six plus minutes to go.
And obviously it sets everything up for Sweden. Uddevalla, hard and slick rock face, a little bit of shale on top. Good if it rains, good if it's dry, but that'll come down to who's got the biggest set, you know, between the legs and who wants the championship the most. But we need to get through Lommel first. 6.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Here is Alberto Ferrato. Is he closing in on Ken Bengtson? Bengtson was a 2:07, Ferrato a 2:06. Pulls a second back. So he could still break the top 7. Back onto the start straight here. That whole right sweeper there as they run through. When they start prepping the track, you know, that gets a little bit soft, doesn't it? This is okay. Hara off the track.
Saying hello
FIM
to
race director there just takes a bit of a swift move left.
Gonna need a change of underwear after this race.
Thing is, that part of the track is built up. You can't get back on there. You've got to go around that whole sort of section. But it's done well to bridge the gap back to the 24 of Horgmo and put on another challenge for second here. Ooh. Needed to be up out of the seat earlier, hit that hole.
He's probably very tired of seeing the back of that 24 right now.
Horgmo just going from one side of the track to the other, going wherever the bike takes him. And down around the corner somewhere here.
You know, Harp's been back there for a few laps, and he's seemingly taking the same lines every time. I'd like to see him venture out and try something different, because he's got to know by now after 4 or 5 laps the lines he's trying have not worked. So I think that's a little bit of inexperience.
Might have got it now.
Drag race down the straightaway here.
Yeah, and he's got a tight line.
At the inside.
Borgmo might be able to keep the power on around the outside here. No. Borgmo closes, Harp closes the door on him. So you've got a Dane and a Norwegian in second and third. Harp now to second. He had to work for it, though.
He did. Borgmo looked like he was just going to cave there. He put up a nice fight. I mean, he's still third, so solid mono from him.
Isaac Gifting here. And the 7-11 of René Hoffer. Just buries the front in the deep bank there. He wasn't on the gas, or you could see how he struggled to pick up.
Yeah, that's a big problem the Americans have anytime they ride a track like Lommel, is far too deep into the corners and lose all their momentum. This sand is just not like anything that America has to offer. So you can really see the difference in technique from guys who really know what they're doing and guys that probably this isn't their best track.
The deepest sand track I rode in Florida was Cocoa Beach.
Yep. Yeah,
as a kid.
It's sandy and really rough, but it just doesn't have the depth that the sand at Lommel has.
And Ferrato is down. That is coming back onto the start straight, I think. And goes down again. What do we say about trying too hard? Just maybe being a little bit too aggressive. So two falls, yeah, it's just on that sweeper where they rejoin the track. So let's have a look at who else has gone missing. Okay. Oh, Dankers. Yeah. Oh, Dankers.
X Games is going on right now, too.
That is a big crash. That's on the way towards pit lane. I wonder if he caught a foot peg on the run up there, but that is a huge crash there from Ryvo Dankers. He was having a good ride as well. And that's through here, so at least, well, I think he's up. Either that or he's just buried himself. So a tough break then for the number 10, the Hutton Metals Yamaha of Ryvo Dankers. He's now down in 22nd position. We've had 10 laps complete. Roman Moosdijk, he's already riding halfway home here. He's 24.5 seconds. He's already over the Dutch border, let's put it that way. Borgmo is here, just behind Harp. Then we've got about a 5-second gap to Gifting. Then Hoffer, 3 seconds further back, as these guys hit traffic, so that'll be interesting. Rubini is still in 6th, but massive advantage then for Van der Moosdijk and Rubini. The top two in the championship, with Ferrato being pushed down to 12th after his fall. A couple of riders coming through here. Here's your race leader, just going through. Back marker. The other side of the jump, we've got Roman Van der Moosdijk on the hill. Here he is.
Nice lead, 25 seconds.
Yeah. You'd take that, wouldn't you, with a minute and a half to go?
I think I could even hold on to a 25-second lead with a lap and a half to go.
Well, here's Ryvo Dankers, Superman. Number 10 that had his off just a lap ago through this very section, around about, not here, but just on this next one. Have some pain when he gets back to the truck. It looked like he would have come down on his whole right side.
It's a pretty impressive effort. Farthest I've seen anybody jump today.
Yeah. But that's the problem, is that you need speed, you need commitment to get through everything. The sand, over the jumps, to get the distance so you're not landing in the back roost, you know, where riders are landing short. But, I mean, that was just taking it to another level.
Yeah. That was maybe a little bit of overcommitment there.
Here's Ferrato. He's in 12th place. Has he just seen his championship hopes fade away in this first race here in Lommel?
Tough moto, for sure. He's going to have to put in a strong effort tomorrow and then hope for some help in Uddevalla.
He was 10 points down on Rubini. Rubini continues to lead the championship, but he's lost another 6. And he's struggling here as well, just to regain that rhythm that saw him come from 23rd to 8th in the space of a few laps. He's on the rear of Kay Eben, though, in 11th place. So he's got traffic in front of him where he can pick up points, but it's 1 point per rider at the moment where he is. It's not enough. He's a tidy rider, Mikael Harp.
I love his style. He makes it look effortless. It is far from effortless out there, but he has that look. Here, I mean, he's in a taller gear, so the RPMs are low, letting the suspension work. He rides the sand like it's supposed to be ridden. I wouldn't know from my own experiences, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah, he's looking good. I think he's just trying to ride himself back to some kind of fitness and confidence level at the moment, you know, in terms of the amount of time that he's had off, just trying to recuperate.
Yeah, we see him standing everywhere, and he's catching the downsides of everything he can do to not break momentum. That's really the key to riding sand.
There's Rubini. He's got Hoffer just ahead of him. So he's up to 5th and closing in on Rennie Hoffer. So are we going to see another couple of points gained back here by Stefan Rubini? 53 going through was Greg Smets. Just looking to see where he is. He's in 27th place. He rode two-stroke championship last year, but I think he's knuckled down. Oh, Rick Elzinga. So the SDM Corsa Yamaha. So we saw Benistan from Yamaha MJC take a bit of a tumble. He's outside of the points in 30th place at the moment, and now Rick Elzinga, who was in 9th. So that's going to hand an advantage to a slight advantage to Ferrato, give him another position at least. Rubini really working hard just to stay on track, pick the right rut as he heads towards the Monster Energy finish line. 2 laps to go now for the Frenchman. He's managed to pick up a point somewhere along the way because he's now up into 5th. So that's a 4-point gain now over Roman Mostijk between him and the Dutch rider. Ferrato looking a little bit loose.
Yeah, his race has really come apart for him. He's just doing everything. It's survival mode at this point for him, unfortunately. You see him just every corner.
So Rubini in 5th, and Ferrato now, he should hit the line in 9th. Here he is. And yeah, in 9th. So he's got too much time to make up on Håkan Fredriksson, though. Another 9 seconds back to the 4.27 from Norway on the Yamaha. Raivo Danker's still circulating despite his crash and despite being outside of the points, hoping that maybe a couple of riders drop out because he's only in 22nd. You know, he clearly can't charge. Probably got some bike damage as well as body damage. And Hågmo looking good. See how they just keep the wheel up through there. 1, 2, 3 holes, drop the front down. It was nicely done there from Hågmo.
Well, Dankers could probably look forward to being on best moments, I would assume. So there's always that.
Here's your leader, Roman Mostijk, into this final lap. 207.1.
It's a bit easy for him, this one. He'll be hoping for the same tomorrow.
I mean, he'll say it's never easy, but it was easier than expected, probably. Right, Rubini in traffic. He's got Hoffer. And he's found his way past Hoffer. Hoffer on the 711. And that's going to be another couple of points back for Rubini. So he moves up into 4th place.
Critical points here with one.
And they are critical points as well, because when you think of the championship and 1st and 2nd in the race, he can go 2nd to Roman Mostijk tomorrow and still leave here as a championship leader. Whereas as it was a couple of laps ago when he was in 6th place, they were 3 points apart, and you have a new championship leader if you have Van der Mostijk winning the race tomorrow and Rubini here just out of shot coming in 2nd. So he's done well just to get up there into 4th. He's 8 seconds down on Hågmo though, and he's not going to do that in the final lap, but just needs to keep a cool head now. Does the 118.
Yeah, coming in, he probably was very aware that Mosdijk would be tough to beat here. So if he could leave still with the red plate, I think he would feel confident going into Sweden that there's a chance to win anyway. This looks like it was going to be Mosdijk's all day.
He just needs a good start tomorrow. That's the problem, because when you know that you're good in a situation like this in the sand, you're already another few percent ahead of your game, if you know what I mean. When you've got an injury, your confidence is down. Your mind is maybe not as alert as it should be when it comes to gate drop time.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy's like, yeah, I'm having this for breakfast, tea, and dessert.
Yeah, Rubini really has to know that he's under pressure here, and he has to put himself in a position to succeed. Maybe he can't beat Mosdijk just speed-wise, but he could be second, and that would minimize the damage quite a bit.
Out of the final turn, Rowan van der Mosdijk takes the Monster Energy finish line here, takes win number 5 for the season, and he moves up to second in the championship. Here is Mikael Harup, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider. Had a steady ride, battled with Kevin Horgmo for a few laps, but he broke free eventually, and he's going to pick up his first points in the EMX250 category with a second place finish. Horgmo, here he is now out of the final turn. Pramac Racing KTM. He'll be fairly pleased with that, I think, given the time off the bike that he's had. And then Rubini taking 4th just on the final lap, comes home in 4th place. And then it should be Hoffer, Bengtsson, Sido, Fredriksson, Alberto Ferrato, Josh Gilbert on the Bill-based Honda. And then Kay Eben. 1 or 2 casualties, though, in terms of riders falling and not scoring points. People like Thibaut Beneston, people like Rick Elzinger, Raivo Dankers. So not the race that those guys would have wanted. But Alberto Ferrato, he will pick up points, but it was a race, a story of 2 halves, really, wasn't it? Even there, just making a mistake, just catching all that back roost. And Ferrato, he'll go back, he'll have a word with Marco and Corrado Maddy, team owner and team manager, and he'll look to rectify this whooping for tomorrow. But anyway, here's Rowan van der Mosdijk, our winner, with Lisa Leyland.
Rowan van der Mosdijk, clearly no stranger to the sand. You rode a very patient, smooth race, and you're now second in the championship standings.
Yeah, that's true. I got a pretty decent start, around 5th. And I knew, you know, I had to be calm in the first laps, pass easy, don't make mistakes. And yeah, when I came on the lead, I just did my own laps. It was nice to follow the pit board, you know. And yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow to do it again.
Good luck for tomorrow. Thank you.
Great ride from Rowan van der Mosdijk. Did what pretty much everybody expected him to do with a victory in that first race. Impressive ride, Jason.
Yeah, there was. You knew after time qualifying how quick he was, that if he was anywhere near the front, he may run away, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, he'll go and get a good night's sleep, and he'll come out firing on all cylinders tomorrow. Hopefully he can make it a 1-1, but what kind of answer will the likes of Harup or Rubini or Ferrato have? Here's your official confirmation then of EMX250 Race 1. Rowan van der Mosdijk, your winner by more than 20 seconds, almost 22. Harup second, Horgmo third, Stefan Rubini 4, Rennie Hoffer, Ken Bengtsson, Jeremy Sido, and Håkan Fredriksson. Then we had Alberto Ferrato coming in 9th, Josh Gilbert 10, Kay Eben 11, Ruben Fernandez, Isaac Gifting. And then we had the 52 of Albin Gerhardsen, Rasmus Håkansson, Sander Egard Mikkelsen, Matteo Del Coco, Viking Lindström, Cornelius Tondel, and Nico Koch. Almost ready for the MX2 qualifying race. But let's check out the highlights from the EMX250 race, shall we? Gate drop. Seems like the starts are being made from over on that left side as we look at it right. Hoffer and Horgmo together as they went in. Isaac Gifting, Kay Eben, Jeremy Sido to the inside. Harup came out in about 5th place, just ahead of the Kawasaki of Rowan van der Mosdijk. And the impressive thing was Rowan van der Mosdijk made moves early, didn't he? But he was also patient, Jason.
He was, and he made mention of that. I think he knew when he looked up and didn't see any of his championship contenders in front of him that he could take his time. That's always nice.
Harup was up into 4th place with that move around Hoffa. But up front, Hogmo was disappearing, and then all of a sudden we had this whole freight train of riders here. Harrop on the 11, David Philipparts, the former world champion, urging on his riders as Van der Moosdijk put the squeeze on Gifting to go into 2nd. And then it was an easy pass to find his way past the Norwegian, Kevin Hogmo. Hogmo, though, probably knew that that was coming.
Yeah, it seemed like Moosdijk kind of turned on the turbo there all in one lap and decided now was the time to go. I was impressed by his patience. You don't see that very often from these younger riders.
Mikael Harrop made 1 or 2 mistakes, but he was able to rectify that, get back on terms with the 24 of Hogmo, and eventually make the pass stick for 2nd. Hogmo hung on for an impressive 3rd. That was Superman in the distance. And that was Raivo Dankers. He eventually picked himself up. Ferrato fell trying to get going again, but eventually picked up points. Thibaut Beneston, another casualty of EMX250 Race 1, and so too Rick Elzinger. But Rubini eventually found his way up into 4th with a lap or so to go with that move on Rennie Hoffa. Gave himself another couple of points clearance at the top of the championship. Over this guy now who sits 2nd, Rowan van der Moosdijk, who was victorious in Race 1 with his 5th race win of the season. So, coming up, we've got some best moments from that race, and then at 4:45 local time, we will be back with MX2 qualifying. Jason and I will see you then.